Federal Drive is presented by GEHA, Government Employees Health Association, proudly providing health and dental benefits to federal employees and their families. Visit GEHA.com.
Few agencies have changed as much as what's now called the Government Publishing Office. It still has vestiges of the old Government Printing Office, yet nowadays its head is called Director and not the public printer, a reflection of just how much communications technology has changed. For an update, that director, who's appeared several times here on the Federal Drive over the last few years, joins me for his final appearance in my own tenure. We welcome GPO Director Hugh Halpern. Hugh, good to have you back.
It is great to be here, Tom, and congratulations on wrapping up a great career on Federal News Network.
Well, thanks so much. It's hard to leave, actually, to be honest with you. But let's talk about GPO for a minute. You have put in a 2026 request to Congress. Of course, you're a congressional agency. What are you asking for? And maybe review some of the plans you wish to do with that money, and also the fact that GPO is not fully appropriated to begin with.
Absolutely. So for folks who may not be familiar with GPO, we're a service organization providing publishing and printing services for all three branches of government, but we're centered in the legislative branch. The other thing to keep in mind is we run very much like a business. So while we did request around $130 million or so in appropriations for FY26, that is only about 9-10% of what we project to be our total revenue for that fiscal year. So the biggest chunk of that, about $83 million, really is for Congress's own printing and publishing needs. That's reimbursing us for the work we do for Congress. There's about another $40 million or so to run the Federal Depository Library Program, which is increasingly a digital program tied in with our trusted digital repository, GovInfo.gov. And there's a little bit of money in there for projects of importance to Congress. Everything else we recover from our customers. So when we produce a passport book for the Department of State, they purchase that from us, and that is built into the fee that you pay the State Department when you renew your passport. Similarly for lots of other projects too.
And of course, to make books and to do the government's, or the Congress's printing, and there is some printing, historical documents and so on, some beautiful books are still made, in limited quantities. There's a capital area that you have to keep tended to because printing technology, especially the short-run, non-offset, but the Xerox type of printing that's so prevalent now, you need to update from time to time.
Absolutely. And, one of the things that we are constantly doing is updating our systems and our equipment and our processes. So it runs the gamut from traditional offset printing. I can tell you we're in the process of standing up a brand new 8-color offset press, and it was a pretty sizable investment for us, but it will replace some aging equipment and still give us the capabilities that we need for that higher end work. Similarly, our daily work, frankly, this changed about the time I got here, about 5.5 years ago or so. We switched from doing offset to digital inkjet technology, and that really is done because you're absolutely right. Those runs are a lot smaller than they used to be. And the way offset printing works, there's a lot of waste, a lot of expense in setting up that first copy. But then the additional copies are pennies on the dollar. And so we needed to change our technology because we were going from, say, with the Congressional Record, a daily circulation of 20 or 25,000 copies down to about 1,500. And at that point, offset technology was no longer economical. Digital inkjet, that can run pretty much, it doesn't care whether you're doing 10 copies or 10,000 copies, that cost per copy is about the same. So,
and the digital inkjet looks pretty good. I mean, it
does. It is still not the same quality as offset, although with newer technologies, that difference is narrowing. But we need to maintain a wide variety of capabilities so that we can meet the needs of our customers. And oftentimes, we'll combine the two. So we'll do covers in as offset, and then we'll do the inside of a book as digital inkjet.
Sure. We're speaking with Hugh Halpern. He's director of the Government Publishing Office. And with respect to GovInfo, the digital presence, which GPO has been working on as kind of an opus now, building for a number of years. And you saw last year some real dramatic upticks in usage of GovInfo. What's going on and why, do you think?
Well, I think information is important to everybody, whether you're an individual citizen, whether you're somebody on Wall Street or elsewhere in the country, and you're trying to look at government information and make decisions in your own world. All of that is important, and all of that is available digitally. So, GPO, we ran an old process where through the Federal Depository Library Program, where we would literally take tangible copies of government publications and distribute them all over the country. Frankly, libraries, if you walk into a library these days, there are far fewer books on the library shelves than there used to be. I remember when I returned to my alma mater, American University, probably 6 years ago or so, and literally walked into the library and thought, where are all the books? But you can now access all of that same information from your smartphone, from your tablet, from your computer screen. And that's really the first place where people are going to look. And we've seen that in the traffic directed to GovInfo. So, not long ago, we celebrated 9 billion document retrievals from GovInfo and its predecessors. We are seeing double-digit year-over-year increases every single month in terms of folks who are accessing GovInfo. And GovInfo is feeding data to a lot of other sources. So, for instance, when we produce a bill for Congress, that goes to our GovInfo site. That data also is supplied to the Library of Congress, so you can get to that same data through congress.gov. It's a great partnership, and it's part of our vision of an America informed.
And by the way, are you using commercial clouds to house all of this? Because it's a lot of storage and retrieval.
It is. We use a combination of on-prem storage and work with the cloud. We're very forward looking at our technology, and we've been working a lot with Microsoft and a lot of other vendors to leverage both cloud technology and emerging AI technology. We're at the very, very front end of that. A lot of testing, a lot of trying to figure out what are the right applications for GPO. But our goal is to make all of this data easily accessible. So it's out there, and other folks can bring their AI products to bear on that data and come up with their own ideas that we might never even think of.
And yet at the same time, GPO is one of the few agencies that still has, in a limited way, the ancient crafts alive, and people that can bind books of presidential papers for keepsake and do gold edges to the books and so on, all of these ancient crafts that used to be daily activities. Yet it's still kept alive, and you still have congressional support for keeping that alive.
Absolutely. I always like to talk about the range of my teammates here at GPO. We've got everybody from really cutting-edge software engineers to manufacturing engineers sort of on one end, and these folks who engage in these artisanal trades, artisanal bookbinders, our offset press people are hugely talented folks. I would not think that I could ever step into their shoes. And they're able to bring those skills to bear. Now, one of our challenges, honestly, our workforce is getting older. So we are trying to grow that next generation of folks who have those skills, whether it's bookbinding, whether it's press operation, whether it's plate making, all of those kinds of things. Some of those we can find out in the world, as private sector printers might have less work or might be shutting down. We're trying to get those folks here at GPO. But we're also trying to grow our own through our apprenticeship program, where we're taking young people or people doing the second career and really trying to educate them in those skills.
And you also have some reach outs, and I wanted to ask briefly about the Yale Goldman Law Library agreement. That's also for print book preservation.
Absolutely. So preservation is one of our key missions from Congress as part of the FDLP. So we partner with libraries all across the country to make sure that folks have this information digitally, but we also have it in print. And our new agreement with the Yale Library and some others, we are very excited to make sure that we still have these regional centers where we can keep these print products alive because, God forbid there's some kind of problem in the internet or whatever, even if it's temporary, we still have these documents available so that people can get to them.
Yes, my old Royal manual typewriter works no matter what happens, even if the power goes out, much less the internet.
Exactly.
I guess that makes us both kind of dinosaurs with one foot in the new age and one foot in the old age.
Absolutely. But it gives us a breadth of capabilities that not everybody else can bring to bear on all sorts of problems.
All right. Well, Hugh Halpern is director of the Government Publishing Office. It's been great talking to you over these years, and I wish you good luck.
Absolutely, Tom, and wishing you the best with everything that comes next, and hope you get lots of good motorcycle time coming up.
That's coming up probably in the next couple of days. We'll post this interview at federalnewsnetwork.com/Federal Drive. Hear the Federal Drive on demand. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.